Awesome. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to Marketing Mondays Mastery. And just a quick thank you to everyone for allowing us some time to meet in Hickory at the Visit NC conference last Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. There was close to 500 tourism practitioners, folks from our Uplift communities, some of our team, Miss Jennifer, who's on the call today, was there with us, Visit NC staff, key leaders, speakers, media, influencers, just a ton of great people in this industry that we all love so much. And so we appreciate getting to go there. And then what we're going to do today is review purpose of the conference, share some of the key partnership programs for 25-26, discuss a few updates that's coming down the pike from our tourism leaders at the Visit NC office, and then some of my personal takeaways from one of the keynote speakers that I thought would be relevant to our Uplift communities. And then we will go through some of the media mission updates, some story pitch ideas that we want to help tell your story through the rest of 2025. And then we'll share next year's conference details as well. So your hosts, we have myself, I'm PJ Werchansky. I am a full-time communication director here at Appalachian State University, part-time adjunct, and also the PR manager for Uplift. And alongside is Miss Kara Treadway, our amazing marketing expert, social media guru. And just a fun fact today, Kara and I both attended and graduated from UNC Wilmington's IMC program for graduate school. So in case you didn't know that, it's pretty cool. All right, so let's look at today's blueprint. So the first thing that we're going to go through, which I feel like is just really important, if you're looking for ways to, get involved with some additional marketing, some additional awareness, the state offers their partnership program. And if you're not familiar with it, it's an annual program. Their fiscal year runs from July 1 through June 30th. And there's a variety of things. We're going to just touch on some of them. But what it does is it empowers our partners to be able to reach more travelers through innovative programs and strategies. And they do such a great job of, meeting a variety of budgets, of purposes. And so we're going to go through that, but they have it broken out into awareness, consideration, and conversion. So based on your goals. And keep in mind, and I'll probably repeat this just because I think it's so important, that they negotiate rates with the larger providers, whether it's traditional or digital or print or social media or even things that they do themselves, to be able to offer the partners a much better negotiated rate. And some of it is even subsidized. So, it's something as small business owners, small tourism development authorities or DLOs, where maybe you don't feel like your budget allows you to do too much. This gives you that leg up. This allows you to piggyback onto existing efforts that the state is doing to really help your marketing budget go further. So I feel like it's really important. I want to make sure that we go through some of that today. And then we're also going to look at the visit, and we're not going to look at it. We're going to talk about some of the updates that's coming down the pike from Visit NC. They've got a new website that's launching later this year. One of the keynote speakers where I just was moved to some degree about the idea of storytelling called Uncharted Wonders. So I'm going to go through that. Some of the media mission updates from my time with some journalists and how we can better serve you, our Uplift communities. And then I want to talk about specific story ideas for pitches for 2025. And then, like I said, we'll briefly go through next year's conference details. So looking at the partnership program details and kind of the purpose again, this helps to expand those opportunities to inspire travel to North Carolina. North Carolina is the number 5 as far as most visited places in the nation. So out of 50 states, we're number 5, which I think is just incredible. And a couple of years ago, we went from number 6 to number 5. That doesn't sound like a lot, but you think about the states that, we're up against between Florida and New York with these massive budgets, in California, to be able to, be in competition as a top 5 destination. I mean, that's huge. And that, I see that as a big opportunity for us to continue to promote those rural destinations like yourselves. So again, that purpose is to empower partners, that's all of us, that's Uplift, that's our communities, to reach more travelers through innovative programs and strategies. And that comes in 3 stages: awareness, consideration, and conversion. And then following up with after that is in-destination tactics. So that helps to really solidify brand loyalty in ways that you interact with your travelers while they're in your destination or visiting your business. So, before we get too far into this, thinking about how the funnel works, because I think this is really important. Most of us are familiar with the concept of the marketing funnel, that framework that defines the journey prospective travelers go through when trying to decide or determine that next destination. And along the way, there's those multiple touch points that we have to reach and engage future travelers. So while travel planning and decision making are not always, linear from point A to point B directly, it's a great tool for understanding and optimizing our future visitors' experience. So, this program, the partnership program, offerings that reflects marketing tactics that are found in those 3 primary stages of the funnel that we talked about. And so, I think about it even from a personal perspective when my wife and I are looking at different places to go. We love the mountains where we live, we love the beach, so we go there on vacation, and everything in between we try to do either on the way or on the way back home. And so thinking about how many different touch points before we make that decision, the more that we as tourism practitioners are part of that, the more likely we have to engage with people and travelers to come to our destination. So now some of the examples of the partnership program, and keep in mind, Uplift, at least through the end of this year, we are happy to provide some of these, to help you get started. So some of the things that you can buy into with Visit NC is a social media audit. They have production programs like video shoots and photo shoots. They partner with Zartico, which is a pretty well-known research agency, and they do visitor insights. Another one that they're offering this year, which is pretty cool, the Zartico Event Insights Analysis. So, think about it. I know that for us here at App State, anytime there's a football game, especially a home game, we have visitors flooding into Boone, Blowing Rock, the surrounding areas. But it's interesting, and this is what Zartico does, is when there's an event coming to your area, they're able to utilize cell phone pings, off the towers to be able to track where people are coming from, how long they're staying in your destination, where they're staying, where they're eating, where they're driving, that journey, that path. And that can really provide some great insights to be able to know where to cross market, where to make those adjustments to be able to keep people in your destination longer. There's also brand and image cooperative research. There's industry relations like Retire NC and Outdoor NC. So those are some program planning opportunities. And keep in mind, we're going to share with you an actual webinar that Visit NC is doing later this week on Thursday that'll give you even more details on all of this. But I just wanted to touch on a few that I thought might be pertinent to our Uplift communities. All right, so that was the program planning. Next is awareness program. So again, spreading the word about some of your offerings, your destination. That might be social media spotlights. So utilizing the Visit NC social platforms, they have hundreds of thousands of followers. And so it is paid, but it gives you a really great opportunity to tap into a much wider audience to be able to get some, information out to, whether you have a new offering, whether you feel like your destination has been under promoted, maybe this is the year you really want to push it. There's also user generated content promotion, joint posting, of course, e-newsletters. They have a new campaign that they started end of last year called First in Fright. So as it gets close to October, or if you have, haunted destinations are becoming kind of a big thing. So that's something that you might look into. They're really excited about it, I can tell you that. Featured content sponsorship, a number of digital programs, AARP, AccuWeather is one of their digital partners, and I can attest to that one. I utilized that one when I was at Chitola Resort. We were in Blowing Rock, and we would highlight the fact that we had cooler weather being up in the mountains during the summertime. And so anytime that Raleigh and Charlotte would hit 90 degrees or higher, the real feel, our ads would display on some of their local sites. And so that was a way for us to target specific markets based on weather forecasts. So I thought it was pretty cool, but we used to do that and saw some pretty decent response from it. There's also streaming display campaigns. They've got a partnership with podcasts to be able to sponsor those. Traditional media like print, whether it's some of the higher end like Gardening Guns, Southern Living, local market television, PR, group media missions. And then of course for us, we represented all of our communities at this event, and there'll be another one in the fall. And so all we ask is for you to send us your story ideas, and we will do our best to pitch those to media while we're there with them. All right, and then there are conversion programs and consideration programs. So whether it's Instagram stories, interest overview, so the way that the new website's going to be structured, and we'll go through that here in a little bit. There's different interests and seasonal overviews, native advertising, and so being able to be featured on the Visit NC website. And I apologize, I don't have those numbers in front of me, but I can tell you that was one of the largest or best return on investment, again, when I was a practitioner at Chitola, being able to utilize some of those seasonal features. We would see a lot of traffic coming through from those. Featured locals trip. And so I won't spend any more time on this, but just know that this is an incredible program. This month's Visit NC webinar is going to be on the 2025-26 co-op program. And Kara, if you can share that link for people to register, I highly recommend it. It's definitely one of those things that they work with you because they want you to succeed. I know that I even had opportunities where I felt like, say it was a 3-month campaign, I would go back to them and say, okay, I think I need to change up my message or my images, or I'm not seeing that conversion like I thought. And they worked with you. And they also, like I said, some of it is either negotiated rates or subsidized. So that link is going to be in the chat to be able to register. And that's going to be on Thursday in case anybody is interested. All right, so this is really exciting. When we were at the Visit NC conference last year in Greenville, North Carolina, they discussed that they would be launching a new website. Well, fast forward 12 months, they're still working on it. And, I didn't realize, I know how much goes into something like this as far as the planning, the wireframing, all the content and everything, but they really took a thoughtful approach to be able to create a better user experience. They did a lot of research, they did focus groups, they collected feedback from, all of us here in North Carolina to be able to create the best possible design. So it's a mobile first design. They have new tags on it. They have a new on-site search tool. They've added AI into it. It's a simplified user experience. Before, if you were interested in like family friendly, you might get literally like 1,000 options, and that's just too much. It's too overwhelming for the user. And so what they did was they broke things down into a more condensed, concise algorithm to be able to deliver, dynamic content. And so that's what they're working on. I don't have an exact date, but they're thinking somewhere around the 3rd quarter. It could be as early as summer for 2025. And so they really want to be able to offer the user those personalized experiences to inspire and connect those travelers with destinations. And so part of that is being able to break things down into much more dynamic segments. And so, they want to dig deep to find those unique stories of our communities, the lesser known figures that drive interest to our town. So anyway, they also have some email marketing enhancements. They're going to utilize first-party data-driven personalization to be able to deliver content to the end user. And so it's pretty exciting. I know they're really excited about it. Some of their key messages are going to include arts and culture, which of course includes our uplift communities, as the rest of these messages will as well. So culinary, outdoors, multi-generations, diversity and inclusion, growth and innovation, sports and sustainability. So, from looking through the lens of our uplift communities, I think these key messages are right on target with what we're offering. So I'm really excited about that for all of us. All right. So another thing that I got to do, and I'm so thankful that I was able to visit with so many great media, was attending the media mission. I got to go to the first one. And so altogether, I met with about 6 media representatives. The first one that you'll see with me on the left side is Simone Harvin. She's a freelancer out of DC. She specializes in art and culture and Black travel and solo trips. And so that was pretty exciting, getting to tell her a little bit about some of our communities. And then on the right is Elizabeth Hudson with Our State, which of course I'm sure many of you are familiar with. They have close to a million in their subscription audience. So definitely some great folks that I got to meet with. This year for us, for Uplift, is the year of hosted itineraries. That's our big goal from a PR and marketing perspective. And so we need you, all of our Uplift communities, to share your best ideas so that we can bring awareness to your town, your business, your destination, and be able to tell those stories that will drive business to your destination. All right, and then another couple photos here. Vanessa Infanzon, she is a freelance writer as well. And then Renee Gannon with Carolina Country. And then I also got to meet with Brett Barter, who's with Discover the Carolinas, and Stephanie Barnett, who is out of Greenville, South Carolina, and she is interested in culinary and family-friendly activities. So pretty cool. But right now we are working on a farm tour itinerary, some other ideas that if y'all want to be included in, you can certainly reach out to us. Daddy-daughter getaways. I know specifically that Simone was also looking at wellness roundups or plant therapy packages or getaways. And then Stephanie was interested in old American classic restaurants, so unknown restaurants that have been around for 25 or more years. And then some additional requests from Our State included streets with a story, stories of shadow and light, RV life, North Carolina and 100 objects. So think about like what object from your area tells a story about North Carolina, and then hidden history and secret stories. All right, so that was just a quick recap. One other thing that I mentioned that I wanted to talk about was the keynote speaker, and this goes along with the story, so I'm just going to talk about it here briefly, is he was the gentleman that owns Atlas Obscura, and he talked about the joy of embracing North Carolina's unclassifiable spirit, and that's exactly what he put in his talk. So how do we spark travel interest through creative storytelling? This is, again, where we need your help to dig deep to find those unique stories of our communities, those lesser known figures that drive interest to our town. Are there movies filmed nearby? Are there popular shows or documentaries or series or part of the First in Fright? So think about what it is with your destination that maybe people still don't know about. Maybe it's something just, it's kind of been under the radar that everybody in your community knows about, but it's kind of stayed within the community. And so maybe it's time to tell that story, whatever that might be. So he talked a little bit about that. And we're also happy to sit down with you, Carrie and I, and brainstorm some ideas to be able to help come up with some stories that might be unique to your area or your destination, and that we would be happy to, when we do our follow-ups, which will be in the next week or so with the media, to be able to share your story. So anyway, next year, March 16th through the 18th, 2026, the Visit NC Tourism Conference is going to be hosted by Explore Asheville. And so we will all be there. Well, hopefully we'll all be there to be able to meet again and continue to promote the rural stories. So I just wanted to mention that. This next Monday, since Easter is on Sunday, next Monday we will not have Marketing Mondays. We will return on April 28th. And then we're going to take a little hiatus over the summer. So our last Marketing Mondays Mastery for the spring is going to be on May 12th, kind of at the end of the school semester. And then Kara and I are still talking about some possible series, some other specialty webinars that we want to do. So you're certainly welcome to reach out to us if you've got certain topics or ideas that you'd like to see us cover. And then other than that, we hope and plan to be back later towards like September for a few months to kind of bring back a little bit more of Marketing Mondays Mastery. And so with that, I'm going to stop and see if there are any questions or thoughts, comments, or anything that we want to discuss. Or you can tell us stories if we want to share those as well right now.